Alright, so what's good, people? You already know what it is when you see me in camera lens. I ain't gonna get in front of that whole spell. I'm saying from my artistry, for those of you who don't know, I'm the artist Vernon Garrett, revolutionary, speak of things, all truth. You know what I'm saying? But just had to touch base with y'all. I had a ton of energy, man. Just don't ask people to reserve where energy came from, but I just had a ton of energy. You checked out some of my previous lives, and of course, I've done lives on an assortment of different things. I've done presentations on basically showing, racism still exists. Explaining certain things about how the judicial system, as well as the law enforcement, is designed to basically keep black people in a certain position, et cetera, et cetera. Just a ton of pro-black material, also motivational speaking. And as far as my artistry as an artist, I don't like to coin rapper because I'm saying it's more to making music than just rapping, even if you put them together and you basically spitting them, you know. But like I said, I had a ton of energy, man. I just felt like I'd be better suited to apply here. I hadn't touched bases in a while as far as making the lives, and I will have more presentations coming up soon on top of the music. For those of you unaware, I do have a recently released project called The Old Testament. Again, by the artist Vernon Garrett. Feel free to Google it, search it, etc. But I just really had to jump up here and speak, man. And the topic that came to me, I'm saying that was inspired to me was the idea of living forever. Now I'm gonna give you the key to living forever. The absolute key to living forever. You ready? All right, here it is. The key to living forever is to live a life worth remembering. It's as simple as that. That's the key to living forever. To live a life worth remembering. When you die, you can have $1 billion in your account. That money won't transcend into you being remembered forever. True, you have people who remember your successes, the things that you did that made you the person you were prior to you dying, but that money will not cause you to be remembered forever. Your deeds, the example you lead, your presentation of yourself, you being genuine and authentic is what generally causes people to relate to you and have people essentially flock to you if your personality is something that they can stomach, something that they, either admire, look up to, etc. Now we all know right now the hot topic, in the black community, even though it's more so hip hop, is what I'm saying, unfortunately, the death of Nipsey Hussle, who was, who was a great artist, in terms of his ability. We not, I'm not a person who just started listening to Nipsey once, he died or whatnot. I was a person who has been listening to Nipsey for years. What I'm saying, all the way back to the Hustle in the House video where he used the crisscross sample. You know what I'm saying? So from that time until then, until now, essentially I had a chance to listen to quite a few of his projects. He was one of my artists that I liked, more so than other people because he was an artist who had actual skill level on top of his, the other things he was doing. He was able to achieve some commercial success before he died. And he was able to make some money before he died, but that's not what's carrying his legacy. See, a lot of people are falling in love with this image, which was genuinely him on a lot of fronts. Now, of course, we don't know what went on behind the scenes, and we don't know, I'm sure there are people out there who may not have been, is proud or looked up to him, or maybe had personal experiences with that man that, other people may not know about. So because of that, that's why they feel the way they feel about him or felt about him prior to this. Because, when something happens to somebody, it changes the perspective a little bit for some of us. You know what I'm saying? If we ain't really have a big issue with a person, we might have had like a little incident with them and something happens to them, then a lot of times out of remorse, especially depending on how this person lost their life, I'm saying, generally that changes. But ultimately his deeds is what's causing him to ascend in the level that he is, in ways that he probably wouldn't achieve had he lived longer. Not saying it was an impossibility, but death brings a a status of like a legend, like being a legend almost. You know, it pushes people to a next level. We've seen it happen with many artists. You know, many artists who were, you know, successful in their own rights, but they hadn't achieved that level of success prior to dying. And once they did, it just kicked them off into a whole different stratosphere. But he is a prime example of that. You know, not to stay on that too long because we all, you know, that topic has been touched 100,000 times over. And as much as I respect and appreciate, you know, everything that people are doing in regards to him, and the fact that people are starting to become more cognizant and understanding of things that's going on, the changes that we need to make within our community. You know, I don't want to stress that too much. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's not about trying to take a situation or a circumstance that presents itself and then trying to turn it into an opportunity in that regard. That's not what this is about. But I'm just using him as an example as to what living forever constitutes. It's about your deeds. It's about you, how you carry yourself, the things that you do in your lifetime, the amount of people that you touch, the amount of people that you have an impact on, the memories that they have of you, and the stories that they go on and tell beyond when you were no longer here in the physical form. And that's really what living forever consists of, just living a life worth remembering. And that's important for all of us to do. And you have to find your niche in order for you to really do that, which in itself is you finding who you are. Once you find out who you are, then at that point you can build on what you've naturally been given, your gifts, your talents, your attributes, your intangibles, things that make you distinctly who you are. You take and you compound on those, and that builds onto your presence, builds onto your energy, etc. And that's the idea, because energy is a forever going thing. When we die, our physical form ceases to exist, but there is still energy. Your existence, your deeds, the things that you did, the lives that you touched, that energy is paid forward. So it's very important that you use your time wisely into the maximum of your ability. You don't waste time. And we got a bad habit of doing that. You know, we automatically assume we got time to do this, automatically assume we got time to do that. You know, I don't gotta do that right now. I get to it later. Later sometimes becomes never. So it's best to use the time that you have allotted, because, you know, using bro as an example and billions of other examples where people thought they had more time to do things and things just didn't work that way. That's a call beyond our making. We don't have necessarily control over that. So with that being the case, it's really up to us to try to maximize that time that comes prior to that. So that, again, if your desire, or if you have an ambition, or if you have a want to be remembered, to be appreciated, to be revered, loved, then you have to spend your time and existence doing that. You can't do it by screwing people over. It doesn't work like that. You can't be a shitty person then and expect people to hold you guarded. It just simply doesn't work like that. So the best thing you could do is be your true self. Build on that. Take pride in that. And use that to further yourself as an individual and also as a part of our entire society, mankind, essentially. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if you want to live forever, then it is up to you to live a life worth remembering. Your deeds, the brain, the information you share, the good you do, taking things upon yourself that may not necessarily be your battles for a great cause, things like that. That's the stuff that causes you to live forever. And we've got many examples in our community to do that. And I got to go back to that, because you already know what I do is what I do for my people. You know what I'm saying? And it's not limited to that, because it's jewels and information that can be taken from this and applied to any person from any particular culture. It doesn't matter. But the point is, I am technically a black man. Genetics and all that aside, where I come from, purpose for creation, the combination of people that led up to me being who I am has no consideration. The color of my skin is what makes me black. That's how the world views me. You know what I'm saying? And the culture is ours. So it's up to us again, man. No, but at the end of the day, man, I really want y'all to take and use recent developments and try to apply them to your life, man. Try to learn from the things that you see. Don't take them necessarily as a warning as to not to do things, because at the end of the day, what happens or what works for other people may not work for you. Your path, your direction, your destiny, whatever word you want to apply to it, does not have to be the same as everybody else. I know I've been, with the recent developments with bro, it's been a case where it's been a lot of don't go back to the hood. Da, 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 da. Listen, don't buy into that, bro. It's unfortunate what happened to bro, but at the end of the day, bro could have been anywhere in the world and that same situation could have happened. It just took this particular incident where he was at in order for it to transpire. But it doesn't work like that, bro. And as soon as all black people feel like if I obtain some type of success, I don't need to go back to the hood. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. As soon as you start to feel like that, then you are already breaking the chain of what's possible for you to pull your people forward. You know what I'm saying? Not saying you got to be knee deep in the hood every day. You got to be around a bunch of people who, technically could be using you or taking advantage of you, or, whatever it is to gain from you. They're there specifically for that purpose. Not saying it's not a possibility, but you have your own ability to watch. You got a certain level of consciousness and understanding to be able to see things, how they should be seen as they actually are, as opposed to what you would like for them to be or how they're presented to you. No matter how the wrapping or the packaging on it is, it's still the same shit inside the box. So it's important for you to understand from your own perspective, not from other people's. You know what I'm saying? And that idea of, okay, yeah, I've reached a certain level of success, so I got to separate myself from the hood. I got to no, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them people, and I'm not one of them people to teach my people the same thing. That don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? The people in the hood essentially make a lot of us. A lot of us that come from backgrounds which you want to call humble beginnings, come from the trenches, stuff like that. The hood is essentially what builds us to a certain extent, good, bad, whatever. But it's a part of our traits, it's a part of our characteristics. It's the environment that birth our personalities to a certain extent. So to say, okay, well, because I'm here now, I can't, don't do that. Now you got enough sense to know there's certain people you need to separate yourself from. It's not hard to tell a person who is jealous and envious of you. And jealousy and envy can cause great dissension. It can cause great heartache, and it can even put us in positions like what happened to bro. But you can't, foresee the future. So to sit there and say I'm gonna live a life based on my own individual success and I can't worry about nothing else. Bro was remembered because of what he was doing for other people, not for what he was doing for himself as an individual. Nobody is getting up there and talking about bro, talking about, oh yeah, we love him and his legacy is going to continue as an individual who went out there and did things for himself. Nobody is remembering his legacy because of that. They remember him because of the things he did for other people, how he carried himself, the deeds that he did during his lifetime. So when you do that, you are essentially separating yourself from the people who got you in part in some form or another, or helped you get to that point. And then you're also destroying your legacy, because when you're separating yourself from that, unless you want to be revered as just being a person who was able to get some money in their lifetime, was a fly nigga and he died, unless that's all you want to be remembered for, you need to take time out. Because at the end of the day, the partial reason why black people in the position that we're in today is because those of us who have beat the system, who have beat the odds, who have somehow achieved some certain level of success, have decided that it's not in my best interest for me to help my people. Now, mind you, you got cultures who, have their own leaders, have people that have come along and have done this and done that and the third. And the people that are most revered, the most respected and appreciated are the people who did for their people. And it's the same thing with us. So that divide has to stop. And since like I said, I got a lot of energy, so I'm gonna run into a whole lot of things, man. And feel free to pull whatever jewels apply to you. Whatever works for you, whatever bit of information you can take from this, you can apply it to yourself, or if it makes sense and it's something that you want to consider, That's all great. There's no specific, it's not a reason for me getting up here in particular today. Like I said, I just had an assortment of energy and I just felt like I needed to apply somewhere, so I'm bringing it to y'all. So take whatever jewels you can from it and just use it. Just know there is no perfect man, bro. There is no perfect man. We are all sent, we all born with a certain level of gifts, talents, attributes that make us uniquely us. It's my ability to do this or my ability to do that, my heart, my brain, and that's what makes me me. Likewise for you, all of that. That's what makes you you. And those attributes have been given to you not only for your own individual path, but also for those that you impact, those that you affect, and the people that you effect. All of those people will be affected by your existence because y'all cross paths in some form or another, whether it may seem significant or insignificant, doesn't matter. It has a part to play. So the same thing for those of you that view this video. There's going to be some of you that might hear this video, and there might be certain things that I say. I might speak for a whole hour and a half. It may only be 30 seconds of this video, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, maybe just one individual sentence that I say that sticks out to you, and it's something that travels with you for the rest of your life. That's that energy, that transfer of energy. And because I'm presenting it, it's based on something I was given. That was the transfer. It was transferred from the creator and whatever level or medium he or she decided, and then was transferred from me to you. And then you transfer the energy to whoever else. And that's simply how it works, bro. But that energy is forever. But it's up to you on how far and how hard you work to broadcast that energy. Because that energy could affect one or could affect a billion. Not saying that either one is bigger or more important than the other, because that one person that energy may be transferred may be somebody that transforms and changes things. You never know. But if you don't transfer that energy and you keep it all for yourself, then you are not only shortening your greatness, you are also shortening your impact, and you are shortening those who could potentially learn and gain from what you have to offer. But it's up to you. At the end of the day, we are all human beings. The creator did not create me perfect, even though sometimes I honestly wish the creator did. And the creator didn't create me to be perfect. But the creator created me to be just right for this time, because this is what was needed. I have the attributes and the abilities, etc., specific that fit for this time, not for the time prior to this, and maybe not the time after I'm no longer here. But it's important that I convey and I do my part. It's to me, it's not about my individual success. Don't get me wrong. We all want to live the best life. We all want to have this. We want to have that. We want to be here. We want to be there. We all want that. That's just a part of our nature. It's a part of the environment that we grew up in. This materialistic existence where it's more important to have and obtain things that can easily be lost again, as opposed to the parts that can't be, that are most dead and significant to you. Your talents and your ability mean more than any dollar. Let me tell you that right now, because that's something that can't be bought. Money can always be gained. People can lie, steal, cheat. People can go out there and actually earn, or whatever. It's different ways for money to be gained. Likewise, money can be lost. But that energy, that's something that can't be replaced. That's something that can't be manufactured or bought, purchased, or even to a certain extent, wasted. We wasted, but it's not like money. It's not nothing that you can lose and then get back. Once it's lost, it's gone forever. Like I said, it's just really important. For some of us, we have a desire to be great. We have a desire to be, somebody, to live, to be remembered, to be revered, respected. To a certain extent, we all got that desire, but some of us want those things more than others. And I want you to know, if you're one of those people, it is very important that you share your energy, but you share your authentic energy. And the better the energy is, the greater good that it'll do. if you putting out a whole bunch of BS energy, just negative vibes, talking about, and I know because again I'm an artist, we put out a lot of music that is counterproductive, a lot of music that's self-destructive or destructive to the people in our community. We're good for that. Now, at some point, we got to come to the realization that that's by design. Yes, there are black-owned music labels. Yes, there are, corporations, that are essentially headed by a or a few black personnel, but essentially the music industry is owned by those who benefit the most from us being at a submissive or lower position. Like the story that came out about in the early 90s, they were people who essentially who represented the early stages of the private prison system approached a few music labels at the time when hip hop was really starting to take off, and they figured out that if they could push a certain narrative through the music, that it would be more beneficial to them in terms of their other business interests. We put out rap that essentially promotes drugs, killing, things that are considered to be illegal by society. If you push out these things, and of course these artists, these entertainers are so influential, these people are more prone to listen to them than anybody else, because there are no leaders in their community that we're allowing to kind of pass through that gateway that's saying anything different from this. So if they got to go through us, they basically got to move in the ways that we tell them to. So we're going to tell them to tell the black people, kill each other, kill themselves, kill their own kind, sell their people poison. It ain't about building up a community. It's about getting all the money you can for yourself. It's about disrespecting each other, about your brother, the man that looked the most like you out of anybody, person who grew up in a situation and circumstances just like yours. That's the one who is your opposition. That's your op. That's who you go kill. That's who you go gun down. Not go fight a system of oppression, or the police come into your neighborhood and they take one of your lives, then that's your opposition. So instead of killing your brother, why don't you go kill one of them for killing y'all? You know what I'm saying? They don't, none of that. Not telling us to go out there and do that, because at this point, we ain't got the psyche for us to really go to war on that level. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm ready. This is something I was born for. So at any point, and again, this is partially up to the creator, but I know I'm a part of this process, so I have to do my part. And I'm not going to get out here and tell us to do anything we're not prepared for yet. But at some point, we have to learn that it's time to fight, bro. And this is me paying my energy forward. We have to fight, bro. You cannot beat or defeat a system or a group of people who have successfully conquered the entire known world by simply coming to them and asking them, can they take their foot off your neck? That's not even realistic. And the sooner we understand that, if that's what it requires for us to truly have our liberty, if that's what it really takes for us to truly be free, then so be it. We just haven't gotten to that point where, either we feel like it's a dire situation to do that, or we've been tricked, blinded, distracted, etc., to whereas we're incapable of seeing it at this current juncture. But there will be a time when we will. I just hope that it's sooner rather than later, because the longer we wait and the longer we sit on our hands and ponder about how to do it, and stay divided, essentially, the longer time that they have to prepare. And then war, or any type of battle, whether it's psychological battle or if it's a physical one, the longer you give somebody to prepare for you, the less chances you have of actually coming out victorious. So it's up to us to actually use what we do know in the history that they've taught us. Keep in mind, this is their history. This is not our history. We don't have any black people, any people from our culture, ancient or modern, who's honestly getting up here and giving us a detailed play-by-play of where we come from, what our past was like, and essentially how to use what we should have learned from our past and apply that to our future so we don't make the same mistakes. The few people who have come along and have done things like that, for whatever reason, we didn't pay a lot of attention to them. You had more white people probably reading up on them and keeping up with the information that they were sharing than other black people. And as far as the black people who were, they might have been sharing the information with those they came across, but to really get on a broad level, really get on a big scale and decide to really push that information out there like that, nobody really did it. So, at the end of the day, this is all things that we need to learn from, all of that, because again, that energy has to be paid forward. And the energy that we leave on this earth in this generation will be the energy that the next generation will have to carry forward. And they will feed off of that. They will learn from it because we are the example for them to learn from. So we only give them get money, get rich, do for self. A nigga disrespects you, killing, F niggas, F bitches. If that's what we leave for them, then what do you think they're gonna do with it? That's their influence from us. The only other influence they get is coming from the opposition of the enemy. So it's like we set them up for failure by not giving them the right amount of energy. So we got to do on our part. Period. But I need y'all to really understand, this isn't, this isn't really a game. Life is truly not a game. But if I had to liken it to a game, then it would have to be check. It would have to be chess. At this point, black people are playing nothing. We playing on the board with each other instead of playing on the actual main board. And even still, those of us who are playing on the main board, to a certain extent, because we aren't as knowledgeable as we should. But again, that's partially due to design. We're playing checkers, whereas the opposition is playing chess. And at this point, I would rather for us to play anything, just to get on the board and do something is better than nothing, but it's up to us. We cannot depend, there's no time machine to go back and change what's been done. There's no way to go back and, make up for the mistakes that have been made in the past by us and those who came before us. There is no time machine to do that. So all we can do is from this day forward, make a conscious decision on what we're going to do and stick to it, play by play, no matter what the end result might be, no matter what obstacles or hurdles may come our way. It's up to us to utilize that. And again, that's that energy being paid forward, because that positive energy, think about it like this. I'm not a religious person at all. I'm a spiritual being, 100%, through and through. But even if you go and if you go and look into like biblical documents, even the Bible will tell you, you have the ability. You have a creator who is the supreme being that will assist along the way, but essentially God or the creator helps those that help themselves. So we're not really putting our best foot forward. We're not pushing to help ourselves, that we can't expect the creator to just, and along the way, the creator does give us certain help, certain boosts. It gives us opportunities, situations, people even that come along that essentially represent that opportunity, that chance, or that divine spirit that's helping us. The person themselves may not be a divine being, because again, there's no perfect person, but in the idea that we were all created and inspired by the creator, that's the divinity in itself. So if a person comes along, like, and again, I'm only using this because it's a hot topic, but bro, hustle, you know what I'm saying? Bro died under circumstances that have touched many, many people. Many, many, many people. We've lost many, many entertainers, actors, athletes, etc. Only a few have really garnered this much attention and acclaim and have really touched people to whereas there's an opportunity for us. And this is our opportunity. Our opportunity to learn from this comes in many forms. One of which is very key, is if bro, who is essentially one of the best versions of us that we had in this current time. Not a perfect individual, but a person who meant a lot, did a lot, and they die under these circumstances, and it has this impact, big of an impact on people in general. Then the first thing we can gain from this is stop killing each other. Period. Unless a person poses a threat to your life or poses a threat to your family's livelihood or anything of that nature, unless they present a situation like that to you, there's no reason for you to kill your brother because he is your ally. Right now, if let's just say, because technically this could happen, especially based on the president, that y'all got. Y'all know you know how he gets down. So let's just say this man that he had a couple bugs in his ear, a couple people talking to him, blah blah blah, and he decided that he wanted to stamp or cement his place in history. And he said, you know what? I want to reenact martial law in the United. I want to enact martial law in the United States, and basically put us under military rule almost, in which we already know black people will be the least likely considered people out the bunch. We will automatically be those who would feel the most pressure and be the most threatened by a situation like that. That being the case, then what would we do? We could have had over 1 million more soldiers than what we got if we simply would not have killed so many of each other before that. We would have had more great leaders to be able to speak for us, or many great leaders who would have been able to teach us certain things that we could have took and used to our benefit. We choose to kill them. That's something that we have got to stop, bro. As a nation of people, that's dead, man. Because I'm telling you, once this revolution kick off, there will not be any tolerance for those of us who don't obey and go by rules and laws of that nature, man. We can't have our own killing our own, man. We got a big enough enemy in front of us right now without us doing their handiwork for them. That's something that cannot be tolerated. Killing a person because you don't like them, because you're jealous, because y'all had words, or because they may have done something you don't like, or because you want to get some cool points, that's dead, bro. And it will not be tolerated. Period. Likewise, the poison of our people for profit. That's something that cannot be tolerated. Period. And I know, man, you know what I'm saying? I come from that, man. I have a situation right now that I'm actively living because of things that fit in that category. I'm not gonna get in here and go into all the details. I'm sure at some point the information will be brought up and it'll be publicly available, et cetera, et cetera. But just know that I'm actively on this very moment. I'm in a situation because of my decisions. Even whether it was me or whatever, just choosing to be in that environment or association, etc. And I'm here to let you know, I was wrong, bro. To poison your people willingly, to hurt them more than they've already been hurt, regardless of because I know I used to justify myself and I used to say, well, if they don't come to me, they're gonna go to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And then I even went a step further. I'm gonna give them, you know what I'm saying? They come to me, then I'm gonna make sure it's what it's supposed to be. If they go to somebody else, then they might give them something that might kill them, or they might, do this and do that third to them. At least I know I'm genuine with mine, I'm real with it. There's no justification for it, bro. I was wrong. I was wrong. Now I know they taught us the idea of survival of the fittest, and you got to do what's right for you, and that individualism. That individualism is what's kept us where we have been for thousands of years. Y'all don't understand, bro. We have been in our situation. They keep kicking this 400 years shit about black people. Basically being oppressed for 400 plus years. The start of the transatlantic slave trail. That we were down before that, bro, in our own country. Invaders, things of that nature, allowing people to come into our lands and essentially take over slowly but surely. Sometimes posing as allies or posing as, people who have our best interest at heart, but in actuality, we wasn't using our better judgment. But at the same time, that come because we come from loving people. And I'm talking about the original African. Now, I got a whole nother branch to go into, which I might actually touch because, like I said, I got a lot of energy and I got a lot of information to share with y'all. So, like I said, stick with me, bro. It's a million different conversations that we can have. We can talk about a million things. Just speaking from the heart, our culture, we love to talk about what's going on in the hood, who got killed, you know, who was fighting last night at the club, you know, who was in the news or who was in the jailbird paper, you know what I'm saying? Or who fucking who, and a whole bunch of ignorant, unimportant information. Period. That's what we love to do. It's like that's what we bask in. But at some point, these are the conversations that we need to have. And this is why we are behind the curve, whereas everybody else is ahead, because they have these conversations. They figure out what's going on in their communities and what they're doing wrong, and they make the proper adjustments. We don't even have the conversations to even ponder, think about it. Therefore, a solution can't possibly be found because ain't nobody even concerned. You know what I'm saying? So these are the conversations that have to be had. And, you know, again, some of us aren't going to be ready to hear things like this. You know, even the previous, videos I've done, and which again, I'm going to get back to the presentations. Presentation like Murder for Melanin, that was something I did a few years back, where I was basically just kind of detailing how the abortion had been used, abortion and contraceptives and birth control, things of that nature had, is something that might actually be a benefit to humankind, but it's been used to kind of hurt us and cut our numbers. That's something that won't really, discuss like that, but that's just an example of a previous presentation I did. Again, does racism exist? Question mark. That was something that I put together as well. But this isn't something I just started doing. So there's a lot of information to be found in these videos, and it's not designed for me to just talk because I want to hear my voices, because we don't have anybody who's doing that. We don't got nobody from our side of the track. Yes, we have some educated brothers and some educated sisters who are getting out there and they're relaying a lot of information to us, but they aren't relatable to us because they don't come from the same background. They haven't had the same experiences in life that we had. So somebody from us need to get up there and speak. Bro Nipsey, he was doing his part, trying to share information, being motivated, speaking inspirational information, speaking about facts, things that will help us in general, speaking about history. These are things that many of us have knowledge on, but we choose not to get out there and share them on a major platform. Not for views, not for attention, not for clout, but to share them because our people need to hear them. And if we don't have nobody from our side who's sharing them, if you take an educated black man who is an extended college education, he's going to speak in a way and in a manner that the 16-year-old in high school who don't really care nothing about school, he just want to hang out with his friends and do whatever, he's not going to understand that information. Likewise, you take a person who is in their 30s or 40s who may have had what you would call a hard life. They haven't really had that chance to go through college education and to be taught, what they will refer to as book knowledge, because they don't have that knowledge or haven't gotten to that point in life. It's harder for them to understand and relate to the information that they're sharing. So we need people from our side to get out there and do it. I don't care how many times you say, you feel me? Or, yeah, I'm sharing. None of that matters. The point is the information that you're sharing. If people want to be distracted by that or point out how many times you say, but that's on them. You know what I'm saying? As long as the right people where that message is intended for understands and they get it. And it's something that they can take and they can apply to themselves, and then they can pay that energy forward to the next person so that they can teach a person who might fall in that same bracket as they do. That's what it's about. But like I said, it's been a systematic divide for a very long time. It didn't start with the transatlantic slavery. It started long before that, thousands of years before that. Even to whereas over time it's been happening so much and in so many different places. So whereas now who you refer to as Caucasians or white people, they lay claim to places that were indefinitely of black origin. Egypt, for example, Libya, places that are indefinitely a part of the African continent, but they lay claim to it because over time so much has happened since the original people were able to get up there and speak for themselves. And of course, written information destroyed, information that simply wasn't collected or properly, maintained or preserved over time. We just lost the history, but it's to whereas now they can almost tell us that we have no history. We have no civilized, we have no civilization to point to and say that came from us to give us some type of pride of where we come from. All they teach us now is that we come from slaves, and that the people that were slaves were nothing more than savages, which we take pride in calling ourselves now today, were nothing more than primitive savages, incapable of developing any type of advanced civilization, anything like that. They can tell us that because over time, so much has happened on top of time itself, to whereas they can rewrite history and tell us anything, and we sit there and we buy into it without even considering an alternative option for it. Just simply saying, okay, well, if this is what they say and we ain't got no way to go look it up ourselves, then it must be right. That's not true, bro. But like I said, this ain't nothing that just started. This is something that's been going on for millennia at this point, for thousands upon thousands of years. And we've just always just slowly but surely, we started off here, and slowly but surely we've been just falling from grace. And it's something that's still going on to this day. Think about it. The one rapper who quote unquote is getting out there and was really out there trying to expand people's minds. I'm not talking about the conscious rapper who does it automatically. I'm talking about the street nigga, the gangsters. The one guy who was getting up there and is sharing this information, blah, 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 nobody was even paying attention to on a serious level until after he died. And then after he dies, you know what I'm saying, which at that point he's been taken from us, so he can't even continue to share the information. So what now? So like I said, man, it's important, man. It's important for us to understand the dynamics of our situation, our past, which directly correlates to our present, because without our past, we wouldn't be in the position we are in currently. And then we have to take the information of what we learned from the past and what we're learning now and apply it to our future. So again, we don't make the same mistakes, we don't go through the same issues, and we able to be the absolute best version of a nation of people we possibly can. But we can't get to that point simply wishing, hoping, and just staying stuck in the same position. Forward motion requires motivation. So we have to become motivated as a people. And I've seen many people become motivated over this situation with bro. You know what I'm saying? So turn that motivation into something that's going to work for our benefit, something that's going to be positive, not just about sharing information on how to become, financially secure or wealthy, or how to secure a bag or whatever. All that's good, but what about the steps beyond that? That energy transfer, that part of you that's capable of living forever. You got the richest man in the world from 100 BC, the richest man in the world from 100 AD, the richest man from 1100. Do you know that information? Has their energy transcended time? Has their energy transcended generations? No. So that goes to show you that it's deeper than just simply how much money you can obtain, or how much success, or how much fun you can have in life. Sure, that's all a part of the human experience. So by all means, indulge, enjoy, But at the same time, as you collect information, you grow as a person, as you mature, as you gain wisdom and knowledge, share that, convey it with your people. At the end of the day, that's how you're going to pay that energy forward. That's what's going to help you to transcend time and generations, because the information that you shared, deeds that you did, will carry forth. They will be remembered forever. Ain't nobody going to remember what was in your bank account the day you died, bro. Nobody going to remember how many bottles you popped, or how many females you had sex with. For the females, how many males you had sex with, or how pretty you was in your prime, and all that. That's not going to transcend time. It's not going to transcend generations. It's nothing that the people that come after us can carry forward. They can carry this energy, this information that's being shared. So it must be done. So I don't care who you are, where you are, what your situation is. If you want to live forever, if you want to have an impact on this world, if you want to have an impact on your people, then this is your opportunity to do it. Like I said, just using bro as an example, he just kind of fits for this whole scenario. Look at bro. Look at him for the idea that Anything can happen to anybody at any time. So you can't count on time to say, oh, well, I could wait. I could do that later. You don't know if later ever gonna come. Likewise, look at what bro did. And not to discredit or dismiss anything he did, because he did a lot, especially for his specific community. But as far as like global scale, bro hadn't got to that point yet. And still look at how he's revered and how he's being remembered. You know what I'm saying? So just think, if you were working hard enough to do that, if you really put your energy into that, think about your impact. Think about what you could do. Think about what you are capable of and how far your deeds and how far your information that you shared, etc., could go. Think about that, man. It could transcend time and it could transcend generations. Simple as that. At the end of the day, man, for me, just for me as an individual, as a person, I care more about my people than I care about my own livelihood. I would gladly lay my life on the line. And with me having this attitude and the combination of everything else, my attributes, the time in which I exist in history, it's probable that I may have to go through that one day. And that's fine with me. I'm all right with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm perfectly fine with that. But the thing that I'm mostly concerned about is that you guys take the information and use it. It does me no good to simply share the information, die because of it, and then we don't carry it forward. It does me no good to do that. So that's my concern. That's my desire. That's my hope. That's my dream. That's my ambition. My ambition is to grow our people. Sure, hit record would be dope. Sure, being able to travel around and speak publicly and whatever, and get paid crazy amounts of money. Yeah, that's dope. Don't get me wrong, that's dope. But that's not the end goal. The end goal is for our people to be able to push this information forward. That's what a leader does. A leader is willing to lay himself or herself on the line in order for his or her people to achieve success, to make it to the destination, for them to get to wherever they need to get to. That's a leader. And we've had many in our lifetime. We've had many in our culture. I like to always use Minis or Narmar, which many of you probably have never heard, but he is technically the very first pharaoh of United Egypt. And of course, history ain't going, you got to dig up and research and verify, blah, blah, blah. But all of that stuff is important to me. That's why I go through all that. I go through all of this reading. I spend more time, instead of partying, hanging out, and having a good time, I'm in books. I'm reading. I'm gaining knowledge and wisdom because I know it's information that needs to be shared with my people. I know that at some point there may be a bridge that has to be covered where this information will be invaluable. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I do what I need to do on my part to make sure I'm prepared. I'd rather be prepared and that bridge, the cross never appears, than for that bridge to appear and I'm not prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, just to use that as an example, Narmar, or excuse me, Menes was the first ruler of unified Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And the deeds that Narmar and Menes did, which we're talking about 3000 BC. So we're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Bro is transcended time. That's an ancestor of ours who did what they were supposed to do at their time. They paid that energy forward. They not only pushed the information out there, but they did the physical work to make sure that our people had a chance and was successful at it. Queen Nzinga. Just using people for example. Shaka of the Zulu tribe. All the way up into modern history, where you got your Malcolm X's and your Martin Luther Kings, and so on and so forth. But these are people who made it their personal business. Some of them might have had motives beyond our understanding. They might have had motives, that was specific to them, and to a certain extent being selfish and it more so being about them. But their deeds spoke otherwise. the results that came from that came from their decisions benefited all of us in some form or fashion. And I speak a lot about Africa, because that's quote unquote the motherland of all black people, of all mankind for that matter. But I do want to share this little bit of information with y'all. I know this is gonna make y'all think, but again, it's just I had a lot of information. I didn't really have a topic of discussion, so I just got up here and I had to relay this information somewhere and put this energy to work. But for those of us that are in the United States, classified as African Americans, right? Have we ever gave it consideration that maybe the majority of us, at least how our ancestors got here, wasn't through the Atlantic slave trade, transatlantic slave trade? Have we ever considered that? I mean, when you really think about it, slave trade lasted what, 200 plus years? Somehow millions on millions and millions of slaves were transferred from, quote unquote, West Africa to all different parts of the Europeanized or Western world. How many boats would have had taken, the boats that can only hold maybe 200 slaves at a time? How many trips or voyages would have had taken to bring millions upon millions of black people to the United States? How many boats? How many trips would that have taken? Not including all the people that would have died on the middle passage between there and here. We never even considered that, And I say that to say that it's highly probable, more probable than thinking that each black person who exists in the United States, outside of those that came later, are direct descendants of slaves. It's highly probable and more likely that many of our ancestors were already here before the Europeans got here. And it's highly probable that we are a part of the original indigenous people of this land, or what you call the natives. But we don't stop to consider stuff like that. But that just goes to show you how information has been twisted, contorted, purported, propaganded to us in ways that we just, we don't even tend to think for ourselves. So now our psyche is completely based on what they want us to believe of ourselves and what we project of ourselves on other people who look just like us. And that's something that we have to change as a nation of people. We have to start thinking for ourselves, completely independent of, some things we can't help. Yes, our language is not of our own. We speak English, despite the fact that we are classified as African American or Black Americans for that matter. We don't speak our native tongue. Our names are English names or some type of Europeanized name. Our whole perception of ourselves is based on the ideals that they placed on us from birth through school, etc. So, I mean, at the end of the day, this is all information, and I'm not getting up here to create some type of conspiracy or, try to, push a different narrative on us, but it's important we start to critically think for ourselves. Use our God-given abilities. They talk a lot about God. They tell us, God is this omnipotent being that sits on high, depending on your religion, sends certain people here to do this, do that, and the third, which is highly probable. That's highly probable. But to say that this way or that way is the right and only true way for each of us, no, bro. If God or the creator decided for us to be all just alike, he would have created us all to be identical. Instead, we're just as unique as every piece of grass that sits out there in that yard. Each one of us. No two people are just alike. You could take an egg that is inside of a mother's womb that is, the male, assist in the reproductive process, and that one egg is split into two, and you have two twins who are identical to the eye. They are still two entirely different people. So if the idea that there's one true way for all of us exists, then we would have been created totally different, but we wasn't. Our brain, our intuition, our process of thinking, etc., our intelligence, it wouldn't have been the way it is if that was the case. But even with that being said, black people need to figure out their way, and it needs to be universal, bro. Especially as far as the black Americans, because all this division, we already divided in more ways. Think about it, it's a pie. You got the pie of black Americans, right? All right, so first and foremost, we're divided by religion. So that's a split right there. And how many other splits that come along with that. All right. So then you take the idea of classism, where you grew up, you know, your background, etc. So that divides us right there too. Then you take all the other extra bullshit. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, we're divided on that. You're a blood, you're a Crip, you're a BD, you're a GD. That's another dice on the pot. You know what I'm saying? And by the time you go through all of these different slices, dices, boom, 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 we are so fucking divided to as they want us to feel like it's impossible for us to unite. But that's a lie. That's a fabrication by those who benefit off of us being divided. They have no think about it. What the hell do you think now? It's quote unquote 40 million of us in the United States, right? So let's just say half of that, because you got to take in consideration those who are too young and those that are essentially too old. So let's just round that to 20 million. What the hell you think would happen if you had 20 million black people united, ready for anything, all standing for the same cause, all ready to do whatever it takes for us to be truly free, have our own nation, to speak for ourselves, to create for ourselves, to have complete control over our existence outside of the creator? If we had 20 million, that's a major problem. So you got to think about how these people are looking at us, man. Just think about that. You know what I'm saying? 20 million. You know what I'm saying? I remember when we was talking about China some years ago when we was in school and talking about they had over 1 million foot soldiers. You talking about just China and foot soldiers, 1 million, times that by 20. And you talking about the most physically capable people on the planet. The most, capable of the same intellectual levels of comprehension, understanding, and strategy as anybody else. We got all of these things mixed into that 20 million. And they had to deal with that. If you was them, you would keep us divided too. You know what I'm saying? You really would. You would keep us divided too. Because it don't make sense. If we know if these niggas was to ever get smart and if these niggas ever came together, nigga, this shit would be catastrophic for us here. I would keep us divided. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think that's how they brain works. That's just common sense, bro. You're not gonna want to see those who, you know what I'm saying, you've been whooping their ass for millennia and all that, decide they want to rise up and they 20 million deep. You're not trying to see that. So you got, just use that in terms of consideration. And again, this is just information. Again, it's forgotten slaves, so it's impossible for me to not tie this back to our people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's my purpose. My purpose is to unite and lead, bro. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It ain't about getting super rich and living this extravagant lifestyle and all that. Yeah, don't get me wrong, that would be dope. That'd be real nice. But that ain't the goal, bro. If I could unite and get our people rolling, I don't even have to see everything coming to fruition. Just to get it started. I could die with a smile on my face immediately. Ain't no point in crying because I'm happy. I'm thankful. I'm grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, though, it's on us to do what we got to do. And if you want to, in fact, live forever, use that energy, bro. And what is a greater cause to use that energy towards than uniting and bringing your people together? What could be a more honorable reason to live than that? I can't think of one. It certainly ain't to say I died a rich man. Certainly ain't to say I had sex with 1 million females or that I've been to every country in the world and all that. That's nice, but that's nothing in comparison to leading and getting our people together and prepared for something that's ours, something that's going to happen inevitably. It just takes certain key things to happen, key people to come along, key opportunities, key happenings, points in history, just the timing, just an assortment of different things that has to work to our benefit. We don't have control over all of those, but we got control over ourselves. we got the ability to stop what we've been doing to each other and decide to change. That's on us. We can't blame the white man for that. Yeah, they set the traps, but it's on us to continuously fall for them, especially when we visibly see them there. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I ain't gonna rap all day, man. I just had, this energy, and I had to put this energy out there, you know. And again, this is just me doing my part. I know this is just the beginning, man, and it's gonna take more than just doing visual videos. And kudos to the other brothers and sisters that's out there doing the same thing or things similar to it. I salute y'all. We appreciate y'all. We need y'all. I pray and hope your heart and everything is in the right place. And I hope that ultimately the work that y'all are doing comes to fruition and puts us in a position where we need to be through understanding, knowledge, and motivation. And hopefully we get to that endpoint. But it's time, bro. We can't sit there and keep holding our stuff in our hands, just waiting for stuff to happen, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like the old story they tell you where they say the man was drowning in the middle of the ocean and he prayed for God to help him. And a boat came through and the man turned the boat down like, no, God gonna save me. So he let that boat go. Then another boat came and the guy offered him help, and he said, no, God gonna help me or God gonna save me. And that boat left, and the third boat came, and he told him the same, and then he drowned, and he got to heaven. He asked God why he didn't save him, and God was like, I sent you 3 boats. You know what I'm saying? This is essentially a part of that, bro. It's the same idea. How many boats have to come through before y'all start to understand and truly get what they represent, what they mean, and that specific opportunity when it's presented to us? Because we don't get many of us who come along who are genuinely more about the welfare of our people, more concerned about our past, our present, and our future than they are about themselves. We don't have many people who come along who are willing to put it all on the line and risk death, risk life with the possibility of death just to see how people get to a certain point. We don't get many people that come along like that. So it's best to use them while they're here. And that goes for any of us. You know what I'm saying? Those in the past, those here in the present, and those in the future. So it's best to utilize those people while they're here. Because unless you're going to be one of those people willing to lay your life on the line, I got the utmost respect for a person who's willing to do that. That's why, to me, those of our leaders in the past that have come along and have been willing to risk it all for us, you know what I'm saying? There's no greater honor. There's no greater way or sacrifice you can make to me, So, like I said, man, you already know what it is when you see me in front of the camera lens. The artist Vernon Gary, aka the boss, Mr. D So the Streets, aka Mr. Don't Cheat Yourself, Treat Yourself, Dead, so don't beat yourself. Old Testament album out right now. Make sure y'all go download that. It's on all platforms, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? But if nothing else, the hell with the music. Pay attention to the message. All right? Try it.